Hey, folks. Well, whoever thought the state of Ohio would get hit with a hurricane? But we got hit with it. Not as bad. Well, this is like the Superstorm, you know. We had the winter front going eastbound. We had a nor'easter, and then we had the hurricane shooting in westbound. So it's like a big collision. And well, all I have is my phone. Our power's been out, and looking at my phone at like the map of where the storm is really affecting and everything. Well, we're right at ground zero, which means hurricane has moved its way inland. And well, I'm up in northeast Ohio. Now, I'm down here at the park, the lakefront park that we have in our village. And we have a big harbor in front of us. There's big waves in the harbor. But see, the harbor has a huge break wall. Okay? And the break wall just basically keeps the water rather nice and less choppy in the harbor. Now, I'm going to show you. I don't have Zoom on the cell phone cam, but hopefully you can see the break wall and the water actually busting over the top. I mean, we have some big waves out there actually on the lake, Lake Erie here. It's really amazing. It's really amazing. The power's been out. The wind's been gusting 40 to 60 miles an hour. I mean, it's just... But I'm not one of those idiots on the news who stands out in this and, you know, is all miserable and everything else. You don't have to do that in order to report on something. All you have to do is park close to it. Here, look at the water. I don't know if you can see that. I'm looking in my viewfinder right now, and you can see the winds blowing the trees around. You know, you can see the grasses and everything there just blowing around rather nicely. Or you see in the foreground, you have the waves in the harbor. But if you look way out over the horizon there, what looks like the horizon, that's the break wall. And beyond that is the lake. And you can see the waves crashing over the top of that. And, you know, when the waves crash over the top of that, those are some big, big waves. They've got to be about 15 to 20 feet tall, because that break wall itself is about 12 to 14 feet tall. So it's pretty impressive to see waves breaking over the top of that. And you know they're breaking over. You know they're taller than the wall because they're pouring over. And if they were smaller than the wall and they're just coming with force, you'd see it spray upward. But no, these waves are just pouring right over the top of the wall, which in effect, if you saw where the water is in relation to the beach, the water is actually probably a good 20 feet closer on the beach. I'm not saying that we're going to be flooded and everything, because if you look behind us, you see there's a big hill there. You know, we're on top of somewhat of a small mountain, very small mountain, but it's high enough to get us above Lake Erie and above the rivers. I haven't even been down to the rivers yet. But this week's Drosh, I mean, since we don't have power, I have to do it on the cell phone. Hopefully, the sound's going to continue on this. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to re-record the sound. But this is going to be a real short Drosh. Sodom and Gomorrah is in this Parasha 4. When I have time, I'll be able to put it in the description. I'm in my truck right now. I don't have my scriptures with me or anything like that. And I figured, okay, well, while I'm waiting on a phone call on a generator, I might as well just do the Drosh and check out what the lake looks like. But now this one's dealing with Sodom and Gomorrah. And, well, the whole lesson seems to be lost nowadays with Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was pretty much like what we see in society today. Killing and drugs and alcoholism and promiscuity and just rampant sex and everything else. The porn industry was big time alive then, just like it is today. And their sin was just so deep. But it's not only that. Eating unclean animals and this and that. Whatever Yah considers a sin is a sin. Not what you and I consider is a sin. You can consider something a sin, and great, it might be a sin according to Scripture, but ultimately it depends on what Yah says is a sin. And what He says is a sin, well, that's the final word, because His word usurps all of our words. We as humans think that we're so smart and so intelligent and so wise and everything else, but it's never going to come close to the wisdom of Yah. And with our intelligence and our wisdom and everything, we can try to justify our own sin. We're real crafty, especially when we have Satan fueling us. When we can flip through Scriptures and read all the Scriptures and ignore everything, just looking for just those little tiny verses that make it appear like the Scripture's saying what we think. But Sodom and Gomorrah, basically every sin that you could think of in Torah, every single one of them was being broken there. Okay, the people just didn't care. People didn't care. They didn't fear Yah. They didn't care at all. They were walking around like the majority of people today, thinking, hey, we're human beings. We're the human race. We're bigger and better and badder than this. We've got technology. We got this. Whatever is thrown at us, we can handle it. It's sort of like the American spirit. We're going to persevere over everything. Well, the thing you have to look at, okay, the reason I'm saying this is, okay, the perseverance, that's great, persevere over everything, but according to whose power? According to whose strength? If it's according to your own strength, then you're actually bringing a curse upon you. If it's according to Yah's strength and His power, then you're actually bringing blessings onto you after the trial. And that's what I'm saying. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah had that cocky attitude. So what did Yah do? Gave them something they couldn't overcome. Fire and brimstone coming down, burning sulfur, just coming down and suffocating them and burning them alive. That's something they could not overcome. And, this hurricane and everything else, this Hurricane Sandy and the Superstorm, reminds me of Sodom and Gomorrah in a way that there's no way to avoid the storm. There's no way to defeat the storm. You just have to bear with it. Now, our perseverance, or is it Yah's perseverance that we use to get through this? If it's Yah's perseverance and His strength and His power, then we're going to be blessed in the end. Okay? But if it's not, if we just roll up our sleeves and say, well, it's the American way, we're going to do it, we're, great people, whatever. You can think of yourself as being great, but the fact is, if you try to persevere over the top of, what Yah's doing to you by your own power, you're not going to do so well, because everything happens for a reason. This storm happened for a reason. I find it, now I don't want to get into a political discussion, but it's just an observation that it's the majority of Democrat-held states that are being hit by this, Ohio included. Majority of Democrats. I don't think it has anything to do with Democrat or Republican. I just think it has to do with the idealisms and the beliefs of the people, because it was the same thing, the actions, the idealisms and beliefs. Basically like in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's the main story in this parasha, Sodom and Gomorrah, and the beliefs and the idealisms and everything else of the people pretty much matched then. And well, you see, Yah's judgment came down in fire and brimstone. The thing is, we're not being totally, completely destroyed. This is a discipline that Yah's doing. This storm could be so much worse. He could bring so much more destruction. 100-mile-an-hour winds. Well, Yah could do 200-mile-an-hour winds. See what I'm saying? Yah could do 200-mile-an-hour winds. He could do 500-mile-an-hour winds. There's no limit to Yah's power. Okay, so he's actually being gentle in doing what he's done so far, because there's no limit to his power. But even though he's being gentle, even though he's not completely wiping off, all this mankind from the face of the planet, even though he's not doing that, it doesn't mean that this is a time to roll up your own sleeves and depend on your own strength. This is a time to rely on the strength of the Almighty Yah. Okay, this is it. This is the time to rely on His strength. Okay, all of you people in the Eastern Seaboard, looking on the phones and everything like that, I don't know if you have cell service or what, but the thing is, look to Yah, look to the Creator of the universe to get you through this. Start up a new discussion with Him. I know a lot of you haven't prayed in a while. I know a lot of you haven't talked to the Father in a while. Well, it's about time you start and don't stop. Okay? Continue talking to Him, so that we can all meet together in the kingdom, okay? And so that He can deliver you from all this. Doesn't matter what your eyes see. What your eyes see is irrelevant, okay? What your ears hear is irrelevant. It's how you pursue Yah and how He works you through this, because He is the one who is the all-powerful. He's the one who's going to deliver us. You might see a dismal situation in front of you, but Yah's going to open up so many doors. If you really come to Him with an open heart, Yah's going to open up so many doors that you're going to be amazed at His power and His glory. And you're going to look back and say, boy, if I tried to rely on my own strength, I couldn't even gotten 1/10 of this done. You see what I'm saying? So, this Drosh is all about Sodom and Gomorrah and judgment and everything else. Well, folks, this is discipline that's coming to us based on Yah's judgment. The superstorm. Take one more look out there at Lake Erie. This is Lake Erie. This is one of the Great Lakes. Got, these big waves. They're not really big. They're probably about 4 foot tall right here close to the shoreline. Well, those are in a harbor. But, like I said, you got this breakwall that's about 12 feet tall out there actually meeting the lake, and the waves are pouring over the top like it's no big deal. So there's some huge waves. But see, this could be a lot more destructive. And Yah could do a lot more. But it doesn't matter what I'm seeing, what I'm looking at. The fact is, Yah has His hand on this, and if we're in covenant with Yah, then He has His hand on us too, which means He's got one hand on us and one hand on the situation. And if the situation gets too bad and He wants to destroy some wicked people, guess what? He might just pick you up with that other hand. See what I'm saying? But I know I'm sort of rambling here, but just listen to the point. Listen to it. Fire and brimstone's not coming down. Total, all-out destruction's not coming, okay? It's not coming at this time. The fact is, we've got a Creator that loves us. He doesn't want to see us perish, but so many of us in the human race have gotten away from His commands, have gotten away from His Word. We've gotten away from Him. And the result is discipline like this. If the majority of people were living according to the Torah and were praying without ceasing and always seeking Yeshua for all knowledge, guess what? This stuff probably wouldn't be happening. We'd see smaller cases happening to the wicked. You know? I mean, we're going to see a huge contrast between the blessed and the condemned. We're going to start seeing a bigger and bigger gap between the two. And the more people want to pursue wickedness, well, the more they're going to see the people who are being blessed. And hopefully that'll be a great witnessing tool. I don't know. But in my experience, those people that are being punished look at the people who are being blessed and hate them. They look at them with contempt and anger. So we'll see what happens. But there it is, Lake Erie. The winds have actually died down a little bit, but we got some pretty strong gusts. But there you see it. Well, folks, it's a little different than what you're used to, but this is this week's Drosh. And, well, take care, folks. I look forward to the next time. Hopefully I'll have power then. You know, I'm looking at running a generator this time, so... well, hopefully things will all work out. Well, I know things will work out, but I hope they work out a little quicker. You know, my patience is being tried right now. But it could be worse. I could be on the eastern seaboard, you know, just getting the full brunt of the ocean. So, praise Yah that he put me where I'm at right now. So, well, that's about it. So, I look forward to the next time. Hopefully it'll be under the usual format. So, take care.